in New South Wales and South Australia, the premiers are getting on like best mates. They want to bring in some kind of social restrictions for kids under 16. They actually want to raise the social media age for social media use. So in this particular story, Chris Minns and the Premier of South Australia, Peter Malinauskas, they're meeting in this week to actually talk about how they're going to bring this in. However, there's a lot of challenges surrounding how they actually institute that, how they verify people's ages. Ben, this is actually your area, and you'll be speaking on this on the 6th of August, right?
Yes, I will be speaking at this at Parliament House on the 6th of August in relation to the digital ID and age verification. I'm currently also writing up a big report on this and some policy advice on this because this is something that's trying to be pushed by people who are clearly technically illiterate. They don't understand how the internet works or how anything to do with big tech works. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to just score some branding points with the community. They speak to parents. What's your concern? Oh, my kid spends too much time on social media. Oh, okay, I'll ban that for you. That's actually what's happening. And we had a really interesting thing already happen with Pornhub in the United States. Now, Texas passed at state level a bill to ban Pornhub. So what happened? All Texas-based IP addresses for the internet, Pornhub is banned. So when you go to Pornhub for a Texas IP, it will come up with a page stating why it's banned and how it's against freedom of speech. Change your IP to California, the whole thing works as normal. So all that's going to happen here, say New South Wales and South Australia ban or put some sort of restriction and somehow convince the social media companies to comply because they don't actually have to, then all kids are going to do, change their IP address to Perth, change their IP address to Queensland. They can do this in 2 seconds by downloading an app, clicking a button. That's how easy it is to change your location. They can go to a web browser, type in free proxy, it'll come up, they type in a URL, bang, they go straight to whatever they want from a different IP address. So this is where they're at. They'd have to convince the social media companies to change it. But here's how it's going to fail. Kid wants to make a social media account, turns it on, goes to a US IP address, creates an account, then that account's registered in the United States. Does not fall under Australian law. So then even though the kid lives in Australia and is accessing the social media account from Australia, what's going to actually occur is it's not going to be pinged by any social media company because it was registered in the United States. It's the United States. It doesn't fall under the laws. And this is what a lot of people in Parliament don't understand, especially the people who are the current ministers, and we also see state government current ministers. They do not understand that wherever the data is stored, that's where the law applies. So if Facebook really, or X or any other social media company really gets pressured, all they have to do is go, okay, you want me to change for your laws that you've just passed? I will now take my entire business, all of the servers and all of the data from your country, and I'll just put it back in the United States, or I'll put it in Singapore, and then I'll just funnel it to Australian IPs, which they can easily do, and bypass the entire thing. You take me to court, gets chucked out because Australian law does not apply outside of Australia. So this is why the whole system is just not going to work. And the question comes, how are you going to verify the person's age? I mean, Google already has this. They've already rolled out an age verification system that exists in Google Play Store. So make a new Google account, go to the Google Play Store, attempt to download an app, right? That's any kind of age restricted, like so dating apps now, so age restricted. Download that, and it will actually then come up and ask for age verification, be it through credit card, taking a selfie, which runs it through a computer system to analyse your features to see if you look old enough. And the other one was, I believe, phone number, which all of these are bypassed in 2 seconds. And I actually was testing it, part of what I do with my cybersecurity stuff and all that, and I was testing it, and I was able to bypass the age verification by taking a photograph of Andrew Tate off a monitor. That's how simple it was to bypass it in literally 2 seconds.
Wow.
So the whole concept here that they have, and even if they were to bring in digital ID is actually easier to forge than a physical ID. And I know this, I used to bounce top 10 most violent venue front doors. When I used to run the front doors, underage kids stopped coming because they know that I'll get them, because I just know what to look for in a fake ID, and I was really good at it. So I know even the really good fakes, and that wouldn't happen that often. Normally it's just they're impersonating, they're using someone else's ID. But the digital IDs, they were starting to come out back then. And I'd always refuse them. The kid would be puzzled, why are you refusing? Because anyone can forge a digital ID. And in actual fact, in 2022, a security researcher was able to back up his entire phone to the iCloud, take out the actual file that was the digital ID, decrypt it, because it only had a PIN number on it, was decrypted in 2 seconds, change the actual name, the age, the address, re-encrypt it, re-upload it to his phone, and it showed up as a real New South Wales digital driver's licence. He scanned the QR code, it even worked for the police. And that just shows that the entire system is flawed, and it's just simply not going to be possible. There are other methods that they could go down, other avenues that they can go down to protect children online that are less invasive, require a hell of a lot less effort, because you don't have to get all these giant tech companies on side. I mean, one of the things that if they really want to protect children online, why aren't they providing parental control tools for the really little kids? But also, why aren't they going to the social media companies? Let's meet halfway. Let's create a sandboxed environment or a sandboxed version of Facebook for kids under 16. So then it congregates. It's orientated towards them, the algorithms and everything. There's wholesome stuff in the algorithms. The kids are getting shown good stuff. It's a safe environment. You know, you can put a parent on the account so the parent sees everything. They can see if the kid's added a new person or someone's messaging them who they don't know. Or you can even set up so unknown people can't message your kid. So that takes away predators being able to add your kid, message your kid. There's so many things that we can do that don't require some sort of age verification system. The only reason it's really being pushed, everyone thinks it might be a sinister thing, you know, like they're trying to control people, whatever. I'd actually argue that it's probably not that. I'd say what it actually probably is more likely to be, a bunch of technically literate people preying on a bunch of technically illiterate people who make decisions. And they go, hey, I want a government contract making apps, making all these very sophisticated things that aren't going to work anyway, but you pay me lots of money over a very long time for a contract. And I think that that's actually the case. Yeah.
A few things before I get the rest of the panel's take on this. Just from reading the article, there's other reasons why they're saying they're doing this. First and foremost, they're saying it's fueling, social media is fueling extremism and misogyny. I will make the point that Anthony Albanese did actually blame the shooting of Donald Trump on misinformation. On top of that, Peter Dutton also backs this particular approach as well. In the first 100 days of government, he actually wants to bring something similar in. I really hope that many people in the coalition hear what you're saying, Ben, because I think it's a great point.
Well, I think Peter is very adamant about protecting children. I mean, he's an ex-police officer, and his heart is in the right place. He wants to protect kids online. He knows, and he has seen in his career exactly what happens to children, how they're exploited, and the horrors that happen. As a police officer, he would have seen that, and he would have known all about that sort of stuff. So his heart is in the right place. He wants to protect kids, and he is making a commitment to make sure that he protects children. The method of how we get there, there's lots of different methods that you can get there to do that, but that's where his heart is. His heart is in the right place, wanting to protect children, especially online, and I think it can be achieved. We can protect children online. It will take some effort to do so, and it will take a lot of hard yards and maybe a bit of out-the-side-the-box stuff, but we can do it. We can protect children online. I've always said one of the things that they should be doing is developing parental controls, but really good parental controls that they can install on a kid's phone that maybe make it lock they can't download apps. Have a system where everything they view online is filtered. So all the bad stuff is filtered out. And you can even get to the point where eventually there'll be AI overlays that are developed that will see an image that's, gore or some sort of violent image or violent video, and it will actually just put a block over it till the parent checks it and sees if it's all right, And that sort of stuff for kids. I mean, that way it's an autopilot thing.
There's actually something like that. There was an app a few months ago, you might have heard of this, where it would, rather than show OnlyFans girls, or when you're on Instagram, you see girls in bikinis and whatever, it put them into that dressed them up. Yeah. It dressed them up to make them look like traditional wives. And I thought that was the funniest thing at the capability AI could do. Stephen likes that.
What's not to like? It's beautiful. My students at Campion would love that as well. They're all trad rads, whatever you call it. I would just say two things on this. I mean, I think they really let the cat out of the bag in some ways when they said,